Greetings, welcome to Split View.
Hello, everybody.
We are here to suck your blood and abduct your women, because we are both Transylvanian aliens.
Transylvanian aliens?
Transylvanians.
Okay. I identify as that, so I would appreciate if you don't say that. Hey everyone, welcome to Split View. It's me and Tom.
We're keeping that intro, dude.
No, I know.
I'm not cutting that out.
I'm just introing the show. I'm just keeping it in there, dude.
Alrighty.
I'm not saying to cut it out.
Yep.
You're listening to... Thank you for tuning in to Radio Split View.
You're listening to the Split View Radio Podcast.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah. Welcome to the hottest 1 hour of your life. This is Split View.
Split View 108.9 FM. Actually, it'd be AM, wouldn't it? Because all we do is fucking talk.
What?
Isn't AM where you just talk and there's no music?
Do you know the difference between AM and FM?
Well, on the radio, I mean, if you go in your car, if you go on AM, it's just talking.
AM is amplitude modulation. FM is frequency modulation. AM is less accurate because it uses the amplitude of the waves to modulate an audio signal.
Okay, well, that's not what anyone cares about when they get in the car.
I mean, it kind of is.
AM is like, if you're fucking boring, you listen to AM. And
do you know
if you're
why?
Not fucking boring, you
do you
put
know
your
why
own music on.
AM channels fucking suck?
Because it has boring stuff on it.
It has boring stuff because it sounds like shit and it's really fucking easy to broadcast on, and the modern media doesn't give a shit about AM, so it's really fucking cheap.
In other words, that's where we should be broadcasting.
That would be a waste. Like, AM is literally the worst sound quality you could get over the air.
Maybe we should take like 69.4 or something, and then just...
We could just start a pirate radio station, Jordy.
And then just project this out.
We could just do that. That's a thing we can just do.
But you said it in the name, a pirate.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get away from it too long.
Do you want to pay for a fucking AM band, Jordy?
No, not really.
I don't know how much it is.
I don't want that in my payment history. Not that much.
That's what you're concerned about.
Yeah, that's all. Actually, no. Because we should be concerned about our payment histories from when we give each other money.
Okay.
With what we name them all.
Someone transferred me $2,000 recently, and the comment was literally drugs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
every single bit of money that I send to someone is like heroin payment.
Yeah.
Drug deal and stuff like that.
I would put nothing, but they don't let you put nothing.
Yeah.
So I have to come up with something.
Yeah. The best part is that like a board of people has to like, when you're ready for a loan, they go through all your transactions and they can't judge you on it. So they have to see like this man literally writing shit like drug deal, heroin payment, and they have to be like, hey, he seems all right. He's getting a decent income.
Didn't you say like Mr. Smith?
He did. He was telling me about all these people
on a podcast or something.
Oh, and maybe it was too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe I'll introduce my my topic for this week.
That would be nice, Jordan.
Which is, I tried to do something that I know about because
that's always good.
My dad was telling me that I don't know anything whenever I'm on these podcasts, and then he's always yelling at the fucking at his comprinter in his car that tells him, that projects the audio into his ears. But it's just me saying stupid shit.
Okay.
And then you saying like, I'm pretty sure the Mona Lisa was painted by Da Vinci, which it was, and I said it wasn't because I didn't know, but I thought it wasn't.
I second guessed that. I was like, is it, or was it Michelangelo? But
yeah. But anyway, he got pissed off with that and he told me about it. Anyway, today I would like to talk about law stuff, but not actually that boring. I want to talk about, does mental illness lead to crime?
Ooh, very interesting.
Yeah. And I'm actually doing a report on this right now. That's why I know something about it.
That's pretty hype.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, I think. I've got another one that we'll get into a little bit later that's in the same sort of realm, but we'll start with this one first. So let me just ask you right off the bat, do you think it does?
So it was, does mental illness lead to crime?
Yeah, so say you've developed something, whether it be anything from anxiety to like severe anger disorders or whatever. Do you think that if you have a mental illness, you are more likely to go into the world of crime?
Well, yeah. It's kind of a given, I think.
But tell me why.
Because your brain is not operating in a logical way logical deemed by modern society, so you need something, and the easiest way to get it is to break the law.
That's true. That's true. Well, what would you say? Because I did some research on it, right? And the majority of crimes, this probably actually won't surprise you, but the majority of crimes committed by people who have mental illnesses are non-violent at all. Like the vast majority of them are non-violent. In fact, in women almost all of the cases are drug offenses for people with mental illnesses,
like
just trying
poisonings
to
or something.
cope. So they get, they
Yeah.
go into the world of drugs and they get caught, or they, whatever. And for men, it's theft and larceny and all. We don't use larceny in Queensland, but it's it's all things like trying to get money, but never necessarily armed robbery or like breaking and entering and anything like that. It's just sort of like maybe stealing a car or stealing shit that like you don't have to be with people for.
Yeah.
I guess, because it makes sense, right? Like, if anyone here listening has had, what chances are they have, right? The probability is quite high, because mental illness is quite prominent these days. That, if you do have it, you want to be by yourself, right?
I guess.
Like, you shouldn't be by yourself, but
Yeah.
that's what you want to do. So you would naturally go to crimes where you don't need to be around other people, right?
I guess so. Yeah, that's that
So you
kind of
wait until like someone leaves. You don't have to like be in an altercation or anything.
Yeah.
You can steal the money. You get what you need still, because say you're coping with drugs or whatever. You need money to get yourself out of the depression. Maybe even pay for a fucking therapist, because God knows they're not cheap.
Yeah.
So
You want it to be as easy as possible, I guess.
exactly.
So,
So a lot of people tend to go towards non-violent crime, which is for a lot of people, they would say that if you've got a mental illness, you're likely to, you just, like, for instance, like if you've got schizophrenia,
yeah.
that's what people, when you say mental illness, if you're not our generation, it probably, like, I'm willing to bet a lot of older people will just think you're schizophrenic and you're going around stabbing people.
Okay.
Like,
You're listening to the metal, Geordie.
well,
You had an affliction.
yeah, man. Yeah, I have some good fucking stories about, like, even, like, one of my, like, I don't know, try not to say names, even though I've said them all so many times before, but, like, one of my good friends, he was, like, as a kid, he was Christian, and when he started listening to metal, like, his parents got fucking absolutely, really, like, pissed off with it, and they didn't like it, and now they just don't care, of course. 'cause it
Didn't you
doesn't matter.
say he tried to play Diablo or something, and then his parents found the game disc?
Yeah,
and they're like,
something like that.
Diablo, that's Beelzebub.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's fucking hilarious, because in reality it doesn't fucking matter at all, of
No.
course. But
Do you know what the funny thing about that is? Like, people, like, when Doom came out, right? You know what Doom is.
yeah, I know what Doom is.
Well, but when Doom came out, that was around like the rock era, right? It's got metal music in it. It's a game about demons and shit, and people fucking, like, Christians are like, oh my god, like, the fucking demon craft has, like, transposed into video games now. You can
occult,
live
dude.
out.
It's the occult.
But what do you do in Doom, Jordy?
You kill the demons.
You kill demons.
Yeah.
So Christians should love Doom.
Yeah. Christian. That should be the only game Christians can play. Is Doom.
You kill the demons. It's literally about killing the demons.
Yeah, it's not about being friends with them and then like coming up with your like 8th circle of hell. It's about killing all the demons and all the bad guys on Mars.
Do you know what I mean? They just don't care. They're just like, nah.
No, they see the demons and that's enough,
Yeah. They see the cover of fucking a dude like killing demons and like, nah, man.
With like a gory skull under his foot and go like, oh,
yeah.
That's no. He's a demon. But I guess my point was sort of like, it's all about what your mindset is, about like what you think it is. So if you don't really know much about mental illness or whatever, then if those are the types of people who would say that, oh yeah, mental illness leads to people killing people. Like, oh, Charles Manson was mentally ill, right?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking Ted Bundy, he was mentally ill, right? Which they were, of course.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
There's something wrong.
But like,
with them.
there is levels between that, of course. Like, there's a
I think
scale.
What you're saying, it's easy to assume that all mentally ill people are like inherently evil.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. I just didn't get it out the best way possible. So I got me thinking about like, what can you really do to help prevent crime in today's society when it is so prevalent? Not necessarily like you won't never fix crime, right? You just physically can't. But for instance, if you spent money on the identification of these illnesses, right, when you're a kid, for instance, because in these homes, when you're surrounded by drug-afflicted parents and money problems and this, that, the other, right? Like these things are, they're called catalysts towards multiple possible mental illnesses, right? Yet they can be genetic, but a lot of times in these cases, if they're going to lead to crime, if you're surrounded by it as well, it's a lot more likely again.
It's the external influences that are really hard to like get rid of, you know?
If you're growing up, the most common factors for the onset of mental illness is divorce, money problems, and drugs in the family. Like, that's just the most common one, other than genetics.
Those are like the three catalysts to everything in the world, every bad problem
that's
in the
true,
world.
yeah, that's true. So if you've got all those, maybe we should, I mean, I know money is being put into these things, but rather than funneling it into, I don't know, more prison cells, funnel it into identifying it earlier. That's what I think, at least. Because it's like win-win, right? You've taken them off the street, quote unquote.
Yeah.
You know, they're better now, and you've slightly eliminated the risk of them potentially committing crimes.
Is it win-win though? Because in my mind, money is the solution and also the problem. Because you were talking about...
No, I'm not saying from the parents. I'm saying from the government.
Yeah. So you're saying we should stop funding prisons, right? And then like better reform programs, better like mental health care and all that. But the thing is, prisons make money.
Well,
you know? They make money off prisons, so it's not really a win-win to like get rid of prisons, since people want to make money off people being sick.
Yeah.
And if they're suddenly like healthy, then that's just an opportunity that's gone to make money, you know? So money is like this tie that binds, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the root of all problems in the world, essentially.
I really would have wished that it wasn't that like sadistic of a like fact, but you are right. Like it is a missed opportunity for them. I guess I didn't think of that. I thought from a moral perspective, and that's where I went wrong, I suppose.
Well, it is a moral though, like, because the thing is, these people who are profiting off prisons, they're not necessarily evil. They're just so abstracted from the actual endpoint that they can't feel for it. Like, someone who's an investor making money off of prison never sees an inmate. They never see what's going wrong. They just see the spreadsheet, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah, they see their name, their number, and what they're in for.
They don't even see that.
Put it in a file or something.
They don't even see that. They just see a spreadsheet of profits and deductions and costs and all that. And they tell that's not their job, you know?
Yeah.
That's not their job to worry about the prisoners or anything. They are just concerned about minimizing, you know, expenses.
Yeah.
And then maximizing profits. So
we're using real meat. It's too expensive. Give them slop.
They don't know about the suffering going on in prisons, and they don't want to know.
I suppose I wouldn't either if I was working on their funds.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to know about it, but I do know about it, so that's why I couldn't do it now. But that's true. I suppose that's why they haven't. I mean, there is money going into it, but I mean, if you look at it objectively, like, do you think the prison system works? That's my other question.
I don't think there's a definitive like answer to that.
Well, let me ask you, when have you ever seen, like, every single application you've gone for asks if you've been in jail before, or if you've had
a criminal
record, right?
Yeah.
If you say yes to that, you know that's being deleted.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going anywhere. That's going to the fucking trash.
Yeah, that's...
Like, once you've been... Because that's what prison's for, right? Quote unquote. It's to reform you, right? You've done your 20 years, right?
Yeah.
You've killed someone. You've done 20 years, which is not how much you get. You get life. You get life. But,
you can go to prison for growing a fucking plant, Jordy.
Well, exactly. You come back from growing a plant, but because you've answered yes, you're not going to get a job. Unless it's like, you're not going to get a decent step in life, that's for sure. You'll be working at fucking factories and anything that'll take you.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be able to, quote unquote, reform yourself.
Yeah, that is kind of strange, isn't it? Like, I feel as though that will probably change, or there'll be some sort of evaluative, like, condition to that, because like you said, the point of prison is to reform.
Yeah.
Whereas you're quote unquote reformed and then you're immediately judged.
Exactly. Like, so you can't get out of that mindset.
Yeah.
You literally can't.
What's the point of even doing the reform then? Why like even call it that if you're just going to be judged and like like we're saying this right, but it is a fact that like people who do commit crimes are likely to commit more crimes even after prison, right? So there is some truth.
Do you know why?
Circumstances.
There's actually a reason for it.
Yeah.
A lot of the reason why people, especially if they've done a decent amount of time, will go back to commit crimes is because they just know they won't last outside. They literally go out immediately. Sometimes they don't even make it out the door. And these guards, no, I'm serious. These guards, they know it. And they just let it happen. They'll like just hold them up so that they can go back in.
Do you know what the term for that is?
No?
Institutionalized.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. I thought you meant for holding up a guard or something.
No, yeah.
But yeah, that's exactly what it is. They're institutionalized, and they don't. Why would you want to? Like, if you know that out there you're going to have to try and work again, because you do get your meals given to you, you get some free time, depending on the severity of the crime that you did. You get to be super jacked, you know, if you want to go to the gym, I guess. But like, and then out there, you know, you don't have shit, right? You have to try and get a car again, which no one's going to give you a loan ever. If you've had a criminal record, they just won't.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? You just have to ride the bus to your fucking shitty job every single day. So they just keep doing it.
This kind of reminds me of a documentary that was made a while ago. I think like 2006 or 7 or so. It was about a tribe in the deepest parts of Africa. They were essentially uncontacted, right? They just lived in their little tribe world, like literally mud huts, like basic culture and all that. And then they were contacted, right? And then they were basically brought into a high level of society. So they integrated into our society. And the documentary follows like a select few of them struggling in modern life because their life was so simple back then. They didn't have anything to worry about, no cell phone plans, no like rent checks or anything. They just lived the most simplistic life. And that kind of reminds, well, that to me is the same thing as kind of being institutionalized, you know? Like
it is. It's very similar. Like it's all about what you know, right?
Yeah.
Like and if you're institutionalized for 20 years, like that is an insane amount of time, right?
Yeah.
Like even no matter how old you are, 20 years it could be like a fourth of your life very easily, right?
Yeah.
Or even less, a third, depending on your life expectancy, whatever your genes. That
Do you mean a quarter?
Yeah. Yeah, a fourth, did I say?
Yeah.
Well, that's still technically a quarter. I just said it like a fucking weirdo. But like it's a fucking insane amount of time. You're not going to know. In 20 years, so many things have changed. Think about what's changed in the past 20 years.
Yeah, it's a different world, literally.
There are people who have been in there who won't even have seen a fucking mobile, who are still in the goddamn... that's real.
They probably have. Like, there are a lot of mobiles in prisons. Like,
Actually, that's true, yeah.
Manufacturers literally make phones that are, like, you know...
prison-friendly.
Yeah, like, they're literally the size of, like, I don't know, like a chapstick.
Now they're all using the new razors. The Samsung flip phones.
Because you can fit them, you know. They fold up and slide right up the ass.
Yeah, man. Easy access.
Yeah. Man, I wonder if that's going to be a thing when phones get really small. Like, I keep telling you about the Westworld kind of phone thing. But
yeah.
What if phones are, like, scroll size, like tiny little things you can fold out? That would be fucking terrible for prisons.
Yeah.
Or great, you know?
Worst of all, what happens if you get a message that you got vibrate on? That's a good time for everyone.
That ain't strong enough, Geordie.
Yeah, well, maybe not if you're in prison.
Okay.
Got to be acclimatized to something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, what I was kind of getting at that, like, colony thing is that it's easy to live. Not, this might sound strange, but it's comfortable to live in prison, you know? You get everything provided for you. There is, like, conflict, you know? Like, there are gangs.
Sure.
There's a very big racial divide in prison.
But the longer you're in prison, the safer you are.
Yeah.
Like, because even if, for instance, I've thought about it, what if I went to prison one time? Like, how would I handle it?
Did you think about this after watching the Carl thing?
The what?
The FPS Russia thing on YouTube?
No, actually, I had thought of it before that, but that did make me think about it again.
Yeah.
But I would I would be a loner, right? I just would be.
Yeah.
And at first, you have to like try and like be somewhat cushy to some people.
You have to fuck someone up on the first day, dude. You have to assert dominance, man.
But like, if you don't pose a threat, this sounds like a fuck. You're talking about animals.
You'll be raped.
But like, if you're like a easy and you cry on your first day and shit, yeah, you're probably gonna get raped.
Yeah.
Like you just like there's a whole science towards it, which is funny. But like there's
a whole psychology
towards it. Yeah, it's a better word for it. But yeah, like I've thought about I'd be my own sort of guy. you know, like, oh yeah, that's Geordie.
I feel
He's
like
cool.
you can't do that though. Like, you
If
kind
you
of have
really
to
want to survive, you'd probably have to fit in somewhere.
They're gonna like the other races are gonna affiliate you with the whites though. Like, you're just gonna be bundled
What
in
if you're
no matter
not
what.
doing anything? Then I don't know why they'd have any reason to
These
start
are
anything.
like literally gangsters. Like, they don't, like, you know, they don't care. They're just
Everyone
gonna
has a
bundle you.
reason for something.
These people create reasons to fuck you up and steal your shit.
I don't have anything to steal. I'm in prison.
You got commissary shit. You got a bed.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, chances are I might not be going to prison today. We'll leave it at that. Chances are, unless Tom calls the Rosas on me,
Okay.
but the bacon.
For what?
I don't know.
What am I gonna get you
I don't
on, dude?
fucking know.
Okay.
I'm just saying. But yeah, so
This dude has a terabyte of Guru on his phone, dude.
yeah, man,
Illegal Guru shit.
it's Vor actually.
That's not illegal though.
Everyone,
War is not illegal, Jordy.
this
Trust
is
me.
what everyone should do today. Go on your phones and search Vor if you don't know what it is, and if you do know what Vor is, search Guru.
Just watch Men in Black 2, I think.
Men in Black 2.
Yeah, with that one
Go-
slug thing that eats a person.
Go and watch Men in Black, the new one with fucking what's his name?
Chris
in it?
Hemsworth?
Chris Hemsworth in it. Stellar movie, absolutely fantastic movie. Great piece
Yep.
of cinema. Memorable, the word I would use.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so my other thing I wanted to talk about was do prisons work and do mental illnesses lead to crime? But of course, the irony is once you go into prison, your chances of getting mental illness is high again, right?
Yeah.
Like heaps of people get depressed, hang themselves, or get killed, like Jeffrey Epstein,
Yep.
because he didn't kill himself. He's
Jeffrey
alive.
Epstein did not kill himself.
So the irony is that the cycle just keeps going.
Yeah.
Like you can't unless you,
People make money off of that, Jordy.
yeah. And I guess that if there's a thing called the lottery of birth, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're born into a nice family,
Do you mean the genetic lottery?
it's called lottery
Oh,
of birth.
okay, yeah. No, I guess those are two separate things, yeah.
Yeah, it's called the lottery of birth, where
Yeah.
it's like if you're born into a nice family, chances are you're gonna have a nice life, right? If you're born into a less well-off family, you're gonna have a less well-off life, right?
Yeah.
You can say, oh, everyone has the same amount of opportunities, right? But how often do you hear? You only hear of certain cases, like
Got this friend because of a job kind of thing.
yeah. Or if you're thinking really big, like
Do you hear what I just said?
what?
Got this friend because of a job.
I've
done that
my
so
brain
many
interpreted
times.
that as the way
Yeah.
it was supposed to be said. But like if you think of like Bill Gates, right? He dropped out of high school and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then he's a fucking squillionaire. But like that doesn't happen much. It's just pure happenstance
Yeah.
that he was able to get out of his rut that he was in and become what he was.
More if he saw a really big opportunity that was untouched, basically.
Sure.
And you can't do that again because there's already like 4 main operating
Exactly.
systems, So,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like so unless you can find a gap in a market or something,
Yeah.
which when your parents are heroin addicts and everyone around you is stealing and possibly killing and shooting and whatever, like the irony, well not the irony, the fact of the matter is that you're not going to be thinking about that. You're going to be thinking about how am I going to make it home? Or, like what am I going to do to put fucking food on the table tomorrow?
Yeah.
Not, I've got this cool idea for an operating system, like that's implying that Bill Gates was in a fucking gang.
I have those thoughts, Geordie. What are you fucking pushing me down for?
No, well, you're not in this situation though.
You might. I might be, Geordie. I might be.
We're sitting in front of like $1,000 microphones right now.
That means That means I'm even more broke
Well, okay, that's
Yeah.
true.
because I spent all my money on this shit. Except not
It's
really.
not shit. It's good shit. It's good shit, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to get your opinions on like maybe if you had any ideas, like what the fuck can you do about this situation? Like you really can't. Like I just don't know. Like this is what I'm doing my report on, like on what you can do to rectify this problem.
Yeah.
It's racking my brain. I don't understand because it's such a recurring problem. You know what I mean? Like you can.
It's a self-fulfilling. Well, there's a word for it. I think it's like a virus or a bacteria, right? Like once it's in the body, just removing a couple of them, they'll reproduce, right?
Yeah.
You can't destroy the entire like bacteria, the entire like growth or spread of bacteria. You have to kind of do it all at once, or else it's gonna continue to grow or reproduce. You know.
Yeah.
So I feel it's much like that. Like you can solve one problem, but it's just gonna divert or like become another problem or shift somewhere else. You know. So I feel like right now there isn't a solution to this problem.
No, like that is the problem.
Well, there is a solution, but it's not an entire solution.
And it's not one that, like, you can just say, oh, well, everyone gets instead of being in a cell, they get a nice room, and, like, every single day for, like, 2 hours, you get a dedicated therapist, right?
That's basically what Sweden has.
Yeah, and and I've heard Swedish jail, like, they have fucking saunas and shit in there.
They're like little apartments.
Yeah.
They get a laptop.
I'm just going to go and shoot someone.
Yeah.
Or not shoot someone, just, like, pull out my gun and say, I might use this, and then you just set forever.
That's what they do in Japan, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except here, it's not as great, so...
Yeah, well, the thing about in Sweden, right, they have such good prisons because their population is kind of good, you know? Like, they're nice people.
They got everything fucking right there.
Yeah, like gigabit Ethernet as well.
They got fucking everything right.
Whereas America is just such, like, a culmination of, like, evil. I don't know, it's strange. Like, not evil, but, like...
They just have, like, the bad aspects of...
Their culture is terrible. Like, it's just... they literally have mass shootings, school shootings, like...
Yeah, like, the fact that is a common thing that happens is school shootings is a bit fucked.
It's a cycle,
it's
you know?
Very fucked. But, like, maybe if you got to those kids, right? If there was a way to get to these kids, that the ones who wear the anime shirts that say, like, don't test me unless you'll get my dark side.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, all
they
those
wear
cringe posts.
shirts.
Yeah. If you can get to those kids...
If you can get to those kids.
If you can get to those kids, those supple boys.
I was literally just about to say that. Holy shit.
Those supple boys.
Literally the S was coming out of my mouth as soon as you said supple.
If you can get to those supple boys and say to them, hey man, you don't have to wear hentai shirts.
Yeah.
You don't need to shoot kids. Everything's gonna be fine.
You don't need to shoot kids,
The only kids you should be shooting is out your dick. On some...
Don't do that, though. Don't do that.
Don't shoot kids out of your dick. That's just spraying a hot load of baby batter.
I thought you was going to say into another person. I was like, we don't need more people in this
just
world.
get yourself a hentai figure. There's plenty of market.
You can make good money.
Big market in the hot glue industry.
Hot glue. You can make money.
You can make heaps of money on that, dude. If you got a big wiener, you got a small wiener, you got no wiener.
Yeah.
You can. There's avenues, dude. You don't have to go down that road.
Okay.
You really don't. How are we doing for time, by the way?
About 30 minutes.
All right.
So.
Well, in which case, I'm going to tell a nice story right here.
Okay.
On my way here, I didn't have to stop for a single red light.
That's pretty cool.
That's the best story I've ever told in my life. I did not have to stop for a single one. And there's like 9 or 10 on the way here. I literally shaved off about like 6 minutes of my trip.
That's pretty good. You know how in London they have a lot of cameras? Well, do you know this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So London is like the most complex kind of city technologically, like for public security and all that. Yeah, like they have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of cameras. Huh. And another thing they have is connected streetlights. So their streetlights are actually remotely controlled.
Really?
Yeah, so like, you know how in hacker movies they have this little box that can like,
yeah, like fucking Watch Dogs.
Yeah. Be like, oh man, green lights, you know, down the fucking street. Whereas that probably wouldn't happen since that's like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy how old the technology is for streetlights. Like, you know those big kind of boxes or like cylinder pillars that are near streetlights?
Yeah.
Those have something called relay logic PLCs in them, which are literally like 1990s technology, like old as not even that, like 1980s or 70s technology. Wow. What it is, it's like a schedule and it loops around and it clicks using like relays. It just loops around on a loop, like 1 minute loop, just deciding which like fucking streetlight goes.
So it's like a redstone circuit.
Pretty much, yeah. It like kind of is, but using like levers instead of like torches or something like that. But but the thing with relays is that they can like burn out after a while. So the point is really old technology. Whereas in London, they have like computer controlled streetlights.
Yeah.
And they have a fuckload of cameras. Yeah. So what they can do, they have like a big command center in London, and they can see when traffic jams are happening and like remotely like direct the flow of traffic.
Wow,
I thought
really
that was
cool.
really fucking cool. Yeah,
That's a really cool idea.
and eventually, once like technology gets advanced enough or like improved enough, they can have a machine learning algorithm like direct the flow of traffic.
That's really cool.
Because the cameras can see the cars.
Yeah.
And then you can have it like build a big map and then like learn how to.
They also have like
the cars.
sensors in the like traffic lights and shit on the like to judge when to do the signals, right? Can they use that?
Yeah, so that's another way. What these street lights that we have in Australia, some of them are more complex than like the old relay ones I was talking about. And if you'll probably notice this now, but near street lights, right where the line is to like stop, where the crosswalk is, there's cracks in the street, like grooves, and what's under there is like a big coil of wire, and it's a magnetosensor, so it uses magnets to detect like when there's actually like shit. So when there's cars there, and it can use that to like not go green when there's no cars there. So
that's cool.
Right,
I just thought of another good use for that.
Yeah.
If you can like for instance in car chases, you can like stop. You can have red lights manually as soon as you get the information, and you can stop everyone from coming through and like preventing crashes and shit.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say stop the fucking car like perp from
no,
because they're not gonna
just
stop for a
save
red
casualties. You can like just
absolutely
prematurely have like the next intersection all red lighted so that like no one's gonna get hurt.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea actually.
Like because I know I'm pretty sure in Australia at least they do have those like literal watchdogs things. You can control street lights yourself while you're in the car. You can do that.
They don't like to talk about that, but that is a thing in some areas. In the city, there are like those control boxes that have like a receiver. They call it Bluetooth. I've heard the word Bluetooth being mentioned. I'm like, really?
You just connect to it like road traffic lights _1.
Pretty much like that, but like a hidden access point. I'm like,
probably got a wireless speaker in it too.
Yeah. I'm like, are you sure that's a good idea?
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
And this was years ago when Bluetooth was like version 2.0 and it didn't have like good encryption. I was like, are you sure that's a good idea?
Yeah,
are you like for real?
I'd say I'm willing to bet they don't do that anymore, but I don't know, maybe they needed to save money and it still is that same thing. But
Yeah.
I mean, really, they don't use it much, but it would be a good thing to have for sure. For that very reason. Like, that's probably the only reason I could think of they'd use it. Because ambulances and shit, they still follow the rules unless they're really... Like, but they have to... They follow the rules as in, like, they don't change the stoplights or anything. They go with what happens. And they have another guy in the front saying, oh, it's a red light, but you're going to have to go here. I've checked, it's safe, go.
They'll drive on the other side of the road or like literally just anywhere.
Well, yeah.
Because there's a person dying in the ambulance. To be fair,
I'd be okay with that if I was dying in the back.
Yeah. I guess it's worth it, but you know.
Worth it if you don't crash.
Yeah, exactly.
In which case you need another ambulance again, so.
Oh, I just thought of something. I was watching House last night, and this reminded me because of the ambulance. They talked about psychopaths.
Okay.
That might be a good thing to talk about in relation to this.
Well, yeah, I mean, psychopaths, of course, if you're a clinical psychopath, the fucking chances of you doing...
What is a psychopath, Geordie?
It's not the same as...
I know what a psychopath is. Like, I looked it up on Wikipedia, like, afterwards, because I wasn't exactly sure, so... I just looked this up last night, so it's fresh in my mind.
Is it like someone who understands how emotions and everything works and then uses that to their advantage?
That's almost exactly what it says on Wikipedia.
Okay.
So essentially psychopaths, they, in their brains, right, you have like an emotive center, you have language understanding and all that. Well, we generalize it like that, but psychopaths... They can take things in from their ears and then directly go to the language center using like just logic. Nothing goes to their emotive centers. They don't feel emotions. They understand emotions from other people around them, but they can't feel or experience or
so
transmit
they just emulate
emotions.
Everything.
Yeah, they literally like their brain is like the most computery you can get. Like they literally just use anything around them to like get what they need. So.
And because of that case, because they don't have a moral connection to anything, like the likelihood of them doing things just to maybe even feel something at all means that they will likely go down that path. Yes, there's a reason why the name is such a bad name, because it's a bad setup.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. They understand morals, right? We understand morals, but... So if I told you to kill someone, what would happen in your brain?
You, like, probably don't do that.
Yeah, but...
That's a bad thing to do.
The same thing would happen in their brain as well, but what is lacking from their brain?
The moral voice, or, like, what if I was actually in the act... Right.
The emotional weight of it. The moral weight. They are lacking that. Their brain can tell them, no, don't do that because that's wrong, but they don't feel it's wrong.
Yeah.
They're just told it's wrong.
Well, I probably shouldn't do that because people say it's wrong.
Well, for them,
because I know it's probably wrong to do that, but then if they went up there and they had the knife, they wouldn't be feeling anything. It's like, this is just something I'm doing.
For them, it's literally just a calculation. It's like, is the reward I'll get from killing someone greater than, you know, the consequences of killing the person?
Yeah.
And if that's true, if they get more out of killing someone than not killing them, then they'll do it.
I mean, that was almost prime the case for, like, Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Because he was, like, a good-looking dude, and, like, he knew how to make friends and how to be a liked person. He was in government for a lot of the time.
Is this Charlie Manson or Ted Bundy?
Ted Bundy.
What did Charlie Manson do? Because they did something similar, didn't they?
Well, Charles Manson never killed anyone. He was the one who had the Manson family, people, and he was a cult leader. Yeah, that's exactly what he was. And he influenced his family, the Manson family, to go out and kill people for him because it would help their whole thing. I actually don't know too much about Manson, but I'm reading a book about Ted Bundy at the moment.
Do you know that one Death Grip song that's like, I roll the dimes, I control the underworld, I deal the cards, you know that one?
Oh, the one with the monologue at the start? Yeah.
That's Charles Manson.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I did know that, unfortunately, because I indulge in quite a lot of true crime in my life. Hence, again, why I'm
showing Jordy like that one meme of Charles Manson.
Yeah.
The Death Grips one.
He's not a good-looking dude. Nah. Charles Manson. The swastika face tattoo just doesn't really do it.
Yeah, I'm not really into that either.
Nah. That is a life choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, that's your unemployment gone.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah.
Like, you're not getting any jobs after that.
That's mega unemployment.
What if you just saw, like, him working at a Macca's? Like, you just see him out the back, like, flipping burgers, and he, like, turns over, and you see a big fat swastika on his head.
You know how most, like, companies have, like, glass buildings, right? Like, it's fancy to have glass buildings.
Yeah.
I went to some place where I interviewed, like, in a glass building. It was, like, a tech firm and all that. Can you imagine being, like, the receptionist or like the interviewer or something in like the meeting room? You see some guy walking up with a fucking swastika tattoo. I'd just be like, lock the doors, just lock them.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy, fuck him. I don't even know if that's him.
That's
but just
why I'm
lock
surprised
the
that you don't have to provide a picture of yourself for resumes.
They can't do that because then it can be used for discrimination.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Which, I mean, they're going to discriminate anyway. So
actually,
having a picture doesn't really make much of a difference, if you ask me.
LinkedIn requires a picture, so you kind of can discriminate based on that.
Yeah.
A lot of places will use LinkedIn.
Well, no matter what, people will discriminate. Like, it's in the fucking Constitution not to, but you can't stop them.
The Constitution.
It is.
The American Constitution?
No, Human Rights Act.
Okay, Geneva?
Huh? No. Human Rights Act.
You know more law than me, so I'll trust you on that.
It's the Human Rights Act. From the United Nations, I think. Anyway, it's in there that you can't discriminate for any reason, especially in jobs, whatever.
Yeah.
But you can't enforce that. You really can't, unless it comes out that this one guy says to you in the interview, "Nah, you're white. I'm not hiring you at our Spanish joint.
You can't
come here because you're white."
You can't really prove it because it's not like
you can't unless they literally tell you. You can't prove that.
Yeah, no one's gonna fucking reply back email wise being like, "No, we don't want blackies here."
Yeah, well, something like that. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I was trying to refrain from saying something like that, but yeah,
I'm just emulating them, Jordy.
Yeah. Well, why don't I finish off? With something. I'll teach everyone how to break the law a little bit and get away with it.
Okay.
I learned today, not today because I didn't have school today. But I learned last week that if you
really call it school, that sounds kind of weird calling it school. Like, oh yes, I'm going to school today.
I learned in kindergarten last week that
I'm just a supple young schoolboy going to school.
How do you think you can break the law and get away with it?
Do something that's hard to like detect or like prove.
No. Like you can literally do this and tell the people you're doing it and get away with it?
I'd probably torrent shit through like a proxy or something, and then tell them, "Hey, I fucking torrented this shit. You can't prove it."
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That wasn't what I was going for. But you actually have a defense if you fill up your car.
I plead the fifth.
If you fill up your car,
Yeah.
and you drive off,
Yeah.
right? You just go home. You don't pay for it. You just go home, and then they come over to you, the police, and they go, "Excuse me, Mr. Goff, you filled up your car before with about $100 worth of fuel, let's say. You didn't pay for it. What was up with that?" And you just say, "I forgot." They can't do anything.
They didn't stop you, did they, sir?
No, they can't do anything.
Yeah.
What they will do is they will follow you like a hawk until you miss a left turn signal, and they'll pull you over.
Yeah.
But they can't do anything. So if you never want to pay for fuel again, everyone should just do that.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that though, because
Don't do that.
They if it's
I feel like they can invoke some sort of like law or something, or some sort of conjunction to like fuck you over. Sorry,
it's just a small gap, right?
they could probably bring you to small claims and then like have it evaluated by a judge.
You will end up paying for it in some way or another.
Yeah.
What they'll do is they'll eventually pull you over for something else, and they'll charge you for both things or something like that. Like it's just or they'll make your speeding fine an extra $600 or something. Like I don't know how it all works out, but it's just something I learned. It's a funny little thing that you can use if you never want to pay for fuel again.
Could they after that, right, if they couldn't get you, and if you commit another crime, could they then bring that to a judge and say, "Hey, he stole this gas because look, he committed another crime." So yeah.
Absolutely. And then chances are they would get an extended sentence for that.
Yeah.
Oh, and another fun fact, if you go into a court hearing, right, and you say you plead not guilty,
Yeah.
if you are found to be guilty and you've wasted the court's time, your sentence is doubled.
What the fuck? Okay, I guess
if you know you're guilty and you say you're not guilty and you're wasting the court's time and the jury's time, because think about if you're going into a jury, you have to take time off work. You have to be in there every single day, especially if they drag this trial out.
there's no way of knowing how long you'll be there either.
Exactly.
That's money that the government has to give people as well,
So you get punished for it.
Yeah.
So don't do the crime if you can't do the time, fellas.
Yep.
And ladies. Ladies can be monsters too.
Okay.
Thank you all for listening. I'm hoping this time is all right. Is it all right?
It's 43 minutes.
43 minutes. A short episode. One for y'all to think upon. I just wanted to do one that I sort of knew something about for once, so people don't yell at me. So, think about the whole prison system. Do you think it works? If you do, you can't really tell us, but you can try. And we'll see you next week. Thank you for listening, everyone. Bye.
Ciao.